Capturing Jerusalem was fine, but in the end I think it wasn't worth, because starting a war versus both England and Austria was a really scary idea. Now what you see here at the east coast, um, the Austrian guys sent some warships, but actually not really a big deal, so I could defend against those pretty easily. And to me and all over the game it seemed like the Austrian lady didn't have any army. So it turned out that Austria wasn't really a big problem for me. And since at this point there were no signs of England or Austria, I just kept on pushing and started attacking um, the city of Kitzbühel. And I don't know, it's a really shitty city, I'm sorry for my language. It's not a special city, it's just a city on a small tile, and I just wanted to get rid of it. I just wanted to conquer it so I can destroy it. And pretty much that's what's going on here. As you can see, there is no resistance from Austria, so this was going pretty fine. The warships, like I said, no problem at all, so at this point I could handle all the aggression pretty well. As you see here in the technology tree, I decided to go down more deep into science, so that my science output would be increased. And well, I think at the point where you discovered industrialization, you have pretty much reached the most crucial technology. I also started the Big Ben. It's also a great world wonder. It permanently decreases the buying costs for pretty much everything. And finally, things were going pretty well, but here it's a bit fast forward. The English guy appeared, and what you see here is that he had some pretty progressed battleships, so it's a special unit of England, but it's one tier above my ship. It's one whole tier over my ships, so it pretty much has double the attack power, I guess some more HP, stuff like that, so really good unit. But of course he did a mistake, he just rushed his ship into my forces, so not a lot to worry. And I thought, okay, if it's that, then I'm happy. If he's just sending some single units, maybe I can defend, and maybe I won't have lost the game, because I wasn't still sure, will I be really capable of fending off both civilizations. Unfortunately, as you see here, this wasn't the only unit of the English lady, so she kept sending warships. On the other hand, I mean, it's better that she spread her army. She just sends some small, I would say, scouts, which I could eliminate with the help of my cities. So I was expecting a larger invasion, to be honest. And another great help at this situation were also my crossbowmen with the improved range and double shoot ability. So it was just insane how much damage they could pull out. So the next couple of turns I could pretty well handle the marine invasion. A couple of turns forward, as I kept bombarding Kitzbühel, I was finally able to shoot down its fortifications, especially helpful, like, once again with my archers. As you see here, they had a huge range, and finally I could annex the city. Well, actually I didn't annex it, I raised it. It's not a city I want to have. It brings me more problems than profit, so I just burned it down. But as you can see here, I think it takes like 2 or 3 turns to take down. My civilization didn't really like that I took the city, so at the moment my civilization is really unhappy. At the same time, since my archers and my warships were already at, I would say, a nice spot, I started bombarding Innsbruck as well. Once again, I skipped forward a couple of turns, and since there was there wasn't any opposition of Austria, I just kept bombarding Innsbruck, and finally I was also capable of capturing Innsbruck. Now this also turned out to be a problem now, because as you see here, I annexed the city, and now my civilization was even more unhappy than it was before. The problem about my crusade was, or is, that in this level of difficulty, capturing cities makes your civilization very unhappy, so you have to wait until you build a courtroom. And I think this is not the case for the artificial intelligence. This means England can just race down one city after another, can just swallow all the civilizations, while I pretty much have to wait until my happiness restores, and then I can go for our next city. But pretty much at this moment I couldn't go for any additional cities. And this is not only the case because of the lack of happiness, but also because there were no real strategic points I could really attack at the moment. So capturing Innsbruck and also destroying Kitzbühel was very easy because they were pretty much within the reach of my army, but now there was no next target, no next. But the scary part was just to come, because England started a double attack on both my east coast, as you see here, and also my the north of South America. As you know, this is the world map, and pretty much I think I figured out the continents right now. I hope it's North and South America, I guess. Yeah, but so they started a marine attack on South America, and a mixed land and marine attack on my east coast. And actually I had to reload really a lot of times, like I think 20 times, and I had to redo the battle because every time they conquered my cities, they crushed my army, and I was really I wasn't sure if I should give up. So yeah, it was really a struggle to fend them off. In the end, what I did and what worked out was that I built a castle. I actually had enough money so I could straight up buy it, and a castle brings really nice fortifications, so it gets a lot harder to conquer a city. And also I sent a great admiral, a great general next to the city, and I positioned my swordmen within the fortification. So the English invasion, the land units had problems to land, because now I blocked the land. But still, it was a really hard time. Here my spy just stole a free technology from another civilization, I think Saudi Arabia, but not to distract from the action. Like I said, I had to reload a couple of times. It took me a couple of hours to fend off. And yeah, as you see, with the strategy, with the fortification, okay, now I'm at the moment, now I'm building it. I could delay his land attacks so that he pretty much couldn't do anything. Also, there were some really fine details. For instance, I just moved my worker towards the knight, so I also tried to bait his attacks with the worker. So really some small details I had to do, and like I said, if I did anything different, the city would have been gone. So I tried a couple of times, and the attack was so large that I always lost the city, or at least some units. And if you think about it, the English guy, he can just produce, and if I lose anything, I lose most probably a unit with a high experience. For me, it's pretty hard to get such a unit again. So it was really hard to manage the defense without losing anything. And I think this is also just a small attack. If you think about the whole military of England, most probably has a way larger army. So this first invasion of him was kind of a test. If I would have failed defending and if I would have lost a first city, then most probably I would, with the next attack, lose another city. Even if I just would have lost units, he would get stronger, I would get weaker, and that would just be the way to go. So I really had to play perfect. Now I'm a bit lying if I say perfect, because actually England managed to weaken me quite a bit. What he did was that he killed my working boats. In Civilization, if you don't know it, you have to buy working boats, and you can just bring a military unit on a upgraded sea field, sea tile, and just plunder it, and then it's pretty much destroyed. Very annoying because it costs a lot of gold to rebuild. And yeah, well, that's what he did. And as you can see now, my civilization is super unhappy because he destroyed all the crabs I was farming. So I lost happiness because now I didn't have any more crabs. And yeah, actually pretty problematic if you stay in that range of unhappiness for too long. Barbarians will raid your cities. So basically they are not barbarians, but rebellions or rebels. So I was really hoping that England would give me a rest so that I had an opportunity to rebuild. But as you see, at this point war was still not over. I mean, right now you can already see I pretty much defended against this first invasion at the east coast, but here was the big shocker. Here was the real big shocker. There just out of nowhere came a huge army of English battleships, and I can tell you, if I would have to battle them, there would have been no chance that I would have defeated them, and at least I would have lost the cities around Jerusalem at the north coast of South America. So here you see my last attempts of fear and despair, where I tried to defend my coastline. But as you can see, my crossbowman, he will be gone the next turn. This little Galeasse will be gone. Most probably Innsbruck will be gone. Jerusalem will be gone. And pretty much game over. So I was really sad when I saw this army, especially after I played at the East Coast perfectly, and then this huge army arrives, and I was like, oh my god, why is this happening? I played so good, I invested so much time, but then out of options and out of despair, I just tried and suggested a peace treaty, and I was so happy. You can't believe when Elizabeth accepted my peace treaty offer. So yeah, that was indeed very lucky. And another lucky thing was that the Greek guy didn't attack me, and he even was getting a bit more friendly towards me. So now I was safe for the moment. Austria didn't seem to pose a big threat. But like you see, my civilization was very unhappy, and I only had a couple of turns until I could rebuild my civilization, until I could restore order in my kingdom. So that's what's coming up in the next video.